Hello and welcome to E-Magazine. I'm your host, Brandon Yemi Chaba. Now, the increasing prominence of stylists in the Kenyan fashion industry has continued to triple. Now, this reflects on how an industry that was once thought to be unprofitable has changed the status quo in the Kenyan fashion industry, revealing how success can be built on image. And that simply highlights how this creativity needs to be underpinned with business acumen. With the many different aspects that make the fashion industry in Kenya, many are not well understood. On today's show, we take a look at the role styling plays in the Kenyan fashion space as we try to understand if this art is the key driver of growth in the Kenyan fashion industry. Hi. Hello.
Hello.
Welcome, Wendy,
Thank
to
you.
Metropol Studios. I'm so glad to be having you to have this conversation with you.
Thank you for having me as well.
Now let's jump straight into today's topic, and I want to ask you, how long have you been in the styling industry right now?
I started styling about 4 years ago, but now I took it professionally 3 years ago, so I've been styling like 3 years professionally.
2 years professionally.
Yeah.
So before you got into it as a full-time job, what did you do to express your love for style and fashion before?
I was working at, I had an internship at a magazine.
Okay.
I went in there for photography, but there was a lot, like the photography jobs were not as much as the ones for styling. So
Yeah.
the stylist at the time, who I work with now, she was just like, you know, it's a turn of, oh, can you do this, like just helping out. Like I helped her out for a bit, and then I realized, wow, I think I like this.
You like, and
Yeah, so it's just something that I really fell into, but until today I have no regrets.
yeah. So you had never thought about being a stylist like way before in life? It's just something you fell into?
Never. I wanted to be a designer actually,
Okay.
because I feel like as a girl, your first instinct when you want to be in fashion is to be a designer.
Yeah.
Because growing up, they were never stylists. Oh,
That's true.
rather, we didn't really know about stylists.
Yeah.
So the first thing, I wanted to be a designer, but I was like, when I did my research, I was like, oh, you need to know how to sketch. Wow.
I can't do that
I've
part.
already been knocked out. So I was like, you know what, it's okay.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll get into fashion photography. Then I fell into fashion
Into
styling.
I'm actually glad you mentioned that you wanted to get into designing, because you know, in this industry a lot of people do not know the difference between a designer and a stylist.
Yes.
So do you want to explain that a bit?
Yeah, I feel like as a stylist, you're more of like, you're an architect where you put the pieces together. You come with different pieces. You can have like different pieces from one store or different pieces from different stores. You're supposed to like make them make sense with together with accessories and shoes and bags and everything. But for a designer, you are the creative behind the design. So you have to look at, a designer looks at trends, they come up with the designs, breaking the rules, but then they are also very, very involved in the design process. That means manufacturing, production, measurements, everything. So stylists, we don't really do much of that.
That part.
Yeah.
Okay. So I know for a fact when it comes to styling, there are different, should I say, areas in styling. Like for example, you can be a personal stylist, you can be a celebrity stylist. Where do you fall in that?
Personally, I do wardrobe, like for different shows. We also do personal styling. That's upon request, where we can come to your house, we look at your wardrobe, and we can tell you need to get rid of this and this and that. You need to buy more of this and this and that.
Really? It's like
avoid
consulting, yeah?
Yeah, it's like consulting, yeah. Then there's editorial styling, which Audra has done before, where you just come up with concepts like for magazines, and you bring together the photographer, the makeup artist, the model, and find a location for now the shoot to come to life. Yeah.
And have you like diversified in all of them, or you focus on one thing?
As of right now, I'm doing a lot of wardrobe.
Wardrobe,
Yeah, a lot of wardrobe and fashion styling. Editorial, not as much, but that's something I'd love to do, because editorial it pushes a lot of creativity.
100%,
So, yeah.
Okay. Do you need to have qualifications in order to be a stylist in Kenya?
No, you don't.
No?
I feel like what works for you will work for you. If your qualifications can get you into the door, well and good. But I feel like for fashion, and especially styling, it's very instinctual. You have to have the eye. You have to be able to work fast, because you know there are some clients you'll deal with who want you to pull things out last minute.
And
What qualification is that?
Yeah.
It's just like you just need to be quick. So if your qualifications will get you where you need to go, the better for you. Yeah.
So now that you actually mentioned, I you know, when I was doing my research, there's something to mention about in order for you to be a stylist, you actually have to have an eye.
Yes.
Of that particular career, and it's good that you mentioned it. Like, at what point in your career did you know you had an eye for fashion?
I think the point where I was trusted. You know, when you're trusted, you know, there's a point where you go and you'll take pictures and maybe send for approval, and they'll be like, yeah, good. This and this and that and that. But the time when they give you now, they're like, you go, you can get the pieces, come and show us. That's when I felt like now they saw I had an eye, and I felt like I had an eye. Because that trust, when someone trusts you with their image, it's really big. It's really important.
I can imagine.
Yeah.
So how have you managed to build your brand as a stylist?
As a stylist, working at Ojwa has been very, 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 it's really shaped me in ways that I can't even explain. This show might go on for days. Yeah, but I think just working under someone who believes in you, and then also just giving you that little advice here and there. It's not really teaching you, but it just shapes you differently. And even just when we're working hand in hand, like there were mistakes, seeing someone else's mistakes were able to make me do better, so that I don't make the same mistakes. Yeah. Okay.
So in that whole process of, you know, styling, especially for editorial shoots, I wanted you to differentiate for me what if there's a difference between creative director and stylist. Is there a thin line between those two roles?
Yes. A creative director can't be a stylist.
Okay.
But a stylist can be a creative director.
Okay.
Because creative directors can work in hand with the stylist, because you head the project and you're able to say this and this and that and that. But then there's an eye, like, of the pieces, that's how the pieces go together. You need the stylist to come in and consult. Then, because the stylist has the advantage of having that eye for how the pieces should go, how they should look, and maybe even seeing the clear vision. A stylist can also be a creative director.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So in some sense, styling can be like PR or consultancy, right?
Consultancy, yes. And like PR, just maybe dealing with image, because PR is like
image, exactly.
Yeah.
I'm curious to know something I've always wanted to know. How are stylists paid? Like, how do you charge your rates? Is it hourly, per session, or it depends on
It really depends. Because for some productions, you'll have to charge hourly, because even if you charge per outfit, the labor that you do there is quite intense. So you can charge per outfit and per hour, but also you can be able to charge per outfit for, like, maybe if it's a consecutive, like maybe it's a season of a show, you can charge them per outfit.
Per outfit for each and every episode.
So it's just every stylist has their own way. Some people will charge per outfit and per hour. Some people will charge per hour, and others will charge per outfit. So, yeah.
Like approximately how much?
It depends. It can go from about, because what happens is the more the outfits, you can negotiate like the less pay. But I feel like we don't like to do anything below like 7 sometimes, because it's a lot of work. People don't see that there's so much that involved. You know, people think we are fairy godmothers, I know, but in the sense that we don't just BPT bop and the outfit is here. There's a lot of communications we have to do with shops and designers. There's a lot of traveling from here and there and that traveling, like moving from one place to another, it's something that cost.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a cost. So it's like, it's intense sometimes. It's a job like any other.
I
you
can imagine.
Stressed, you get frustrated, and you know, at the end of the day, the work has to be done.
100%.
Yeah.
Now, within that styling space, especially in Kenya, do you think it's allowed you to, for example, have opportunities to work with different celebrities?
Yes, it has. I remember there was once we had been brought in to assist styling for Coke Studio and meeting these celebrities. Yeah, it does open a lot of doors, and then you also get to meet some of these people. Like, I got to meet Amina, who's been a great friend
that's
till
amazing.
this day. Yeah.
The funny thing is, Amina was my first guest on this show.
Oh, really?
Yes.
That's amazing. Yeah. So I feel like just meeting some of these people, and you just see that these people are living ordinary lives. These people are just kind and caring, and even you get to learn a lot from their different fields, because I've been on shows where it's about music, so I've taken a keen interest in like the Kenyan music industry. You get on shows where they talk about health, so you learn a lot about health and all. So it's just opening doors for you to even just learn more from these people in their different spaces. Yeah.
Okay. So having done this for 4 years, have you been able to work with like bigger companies like commercials or just bigger projects apart from, you know, styling celebrities?
Yes. There's a time I assisted styling for a Darling commercial.
Okay.
So it was a good experience. It was good to see how it works like commercially, because I feel like big production, it's more intense. There's so much that needs to be paid attention. So many things are specific. Like if they say they want this red, it's this red. You can't bring any different red. So it just teaches you to like be specific, work with a lot of structure. So it was a good experience.
And how were you able to get such gigs? Is like networking important in the styling space?
Yes, I feel like there's also networking. It works here and there, because for us, a lot of our things like maybe go up online, so you can be able to push it online by even like DMing clients, approaching them. When we go for events.
Telling them about your services.
Yeah, when we go for events, you can be able to network. But then most of the good jobs like really come from referrals. So we try to do our best with every job so that they can be able to be like, yo, if you're looking for a stylist, look for Ojwa, you know.
So would you say 80% of the gigs you get as a fashion stylist in Kenya are from referrals and not even social media? Or it's
here and there.
Here and there.
But trust me, the best are referrals.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yes.
So has social media helped you like brand yourself as a stylist and push your services even further beyond just, you know, a small audience?
Yes, social media is really big, especially because that's how we sell to the stores to be able to give us pieces. Where like we really push social media posting, especially for our clients. Like you need to post, you need to tag the stores, because at the end of the day, it's a partnership between the three of you. Me and the client, me, the client and the store and me, the store and the client. So we are sort of like a middleman. So when we're able to post on social media, people can even just keep track of what we are doing. They're able to engage, like how much is this, you know, so the stores can see even we are helping them advertise some of their clothes. So social media really plays a big role. So that's why we're really keen even on what we post.
What you post.
Yeah, Ojwa takes social media very seriously.
I can your Instagram looks amazing. I feel like you need to give me tips on how you have that color code going on.
You can come to our offices
I
and have a consultation.
Well, we'll continue the conversation after this. I'm loving it so much. But for now, we have to take a short commercial break. And when we come back, we'll get more into details about what styling in Kenya is all about. Hello and welcome back to E-Magazine. Now, before we took a short commercial break, Wendy was helping me understand what it really means to be a stylist in the Kenyan fashion scene. And clearly, as you can hear from our conversation, it takes a lot of passion and effort to really understand what that space is all about. Welcome back, Wendy.
Thank you.
Now let's just continue with our amazing conversation. And one thing I forgot to ask you is, in your opinion, what do you think is the role of a stylist in fashion?
I feel like the role of a stylist is, first of all, because we play a different role for different people. For clients, it's you're trusting us with your image. So here we are able to create something that looks good. Not only looks good for the purpose of looking good, but look good so that the client can also feel good. So here we have to pay attention to clients' needs, clients' preferences, and what exactly they're going to do. Like maybe if it's a show, what's the theme of the show. For the rest of the industry, we are a linking factor. We link clients with, like for production, we link clients with photographers that we are connected to, designers pieces for their production, and makeup artists who can be able to do the makeup, and also models who can be able to carry out the vision of the production. So we sort of just, we're like the glue.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
We talked about the role of a stylist in fashion, and you pretty much explained that to me. But one thing I feel like we should highlight is what makes you stand out as a stylist in this market? Because it is competitive, knowing for a fact that there are fashion bloggers who play the role of stylists as well, and social media has allowed people to be out there sharing their style. So it just really makes it a competitive market. So what do you do different that makes you stand out?
I feel like for me, I learned something that A$AP Rocky said, that to have style, sometimes you have to break the rules. So the way I'd pair would be different from the way you would pair. And that's why people will be able to differentiate between a stylist and someone who just put pieces together.
Yeah.
So every time I have that in the back of my mind, I normally strive to do so. It has to stand out. It has to look like, wow. Unless it's like, you know, there's some things that are out of your control. It's like, we just want a green dress, straight, and then, you know, that one you can't.
Yeah.
But when it comes to especially creative styling, like for a music show, there I go ham. It's just it's all in the pairing. How would you pair this with this? Sometimes you feel like this and this ideally wouldn't go, but if you make the client try it out, they actually look at it and like, I would have never seen that. You saw that, and I'm like, that's why I'm here. Yeah. So it's always just, you have to see something that the common person wouldn't see.
Yeah. Have you ever done styling for music videos?
Yes.
I never even knew that happened.
Yes. Yes, we worked with the band Becca.
Oh, wow, okay.
A couple of really sweet girls, and they were, what I liked about them, they were so open to...
Are those two pretty girls?
Yes.
Yes. I actually love this.
And I like their music, so it was just...
It's usually very colorful.
Yes. It was just like it was just like working with your sibling. Like you just tell your sibling, wear this, wear that, wear this, wear that. We were just really meshing, because for you, even as a stylist, when you take in some roles, you have to understand, like let's say if it's for a film, you have to internalize every character.
Yes.
That you can be able to know that character A embodies this style. So whenever you're getting pieces for them, it makes sense. It's not like 1 minute they're glamorous, the next minute they're this, the next, like you have to maintain this certain style. Yeah. So it just goes to understanding, even music. Sometimes you have to internalize the song, know the song message, so that you can see how to be able to dress the client.
So it entails a lot of creativity being a stylist.
Yeah, and a lot of research as well.
A lot of, yeah, because you have to understand your client and know the kind of look they're trying to achieve.
Yeah, and sometimes even just pushing them to be a little trendy, because sometimes we use what's there in the stores, and if the stores have changed their stock, they're doing things that are a bit more trendy, it's easier to even just sell to the client. Once you have a knowledge of how this trend works, how this trend is going to be portrayed, you can be able to sell it to the client.
So do you make collaborations with different clothing stores in order to get different outfits, or you go ahead and just buy the clothes?
We are partnered with different stores, yeah. So we have a partnership where they provide us with clothes, but therefore for somewhere, like maybe a client is very specific about a different cut and a color, some things have to be bought. So we always tell the client, like, it's just about communication. You're like, for this and this and that, we'll need to do this. Like, if you want this and this and this, like if you want a clear cut, you want it in this emerald green, it can only be found at this store, which you will need to buy. Yeah. So
what, I mean, do you think, what is the single most underrated component of styling in Kenya, to be specific?
And I feel like styling itself is just underrated. But if I was to just go deeper, I feel like the role that stylists are playing in especially the ones who are able to bring people together for production.
Yes.
People don't really know that.
They don't know the hard work that goes
Yeah,
behind
especially
that.
for editorial, because you need to know which photographer will be able to carry out this concept, because sometimes as a stylist you might be the one coming up with the concept.
Yeah.
So if you come up with the concept and you pick your own photographer, you pick the model, you pick the makeup artist, you pick the designer, you need to be able to know that these people can be able to carry out the vision. If the concept is, let's say, avant-garde, can this designer create avant-garde pieces? Does this photographer know how to shoot avant-garde pieces? Can this model carry?
So you basically put the final image together.
Yes.
It's amazing.
And even it's like one thing, also stylists are very, we look like we're always behind the camera looking and seeing, and it's like if this jacket is not like a certain way, it would look good on camera, and you see that's something maybe a stylist would be able to see and be like, let's remove the jacket, let's place it maybe on here, or let's wear it fully, you get. So
what's been your experience so far in the styling industry, and what are some of the challenges you faced?
Challenges, I think people just not knowing your what. First of all, I am very young. I will not say how old I am, but some people don't take you seriously because of whatever they feel like they don't understand.
So they feel
why
like
they have to pay you a certain amount. Like, what is it exactly you do?
You just because
what is it exactly you do? Isn't your work just to pick pieces? Also, not understanding that the relationships we have with the stores, where a client would maybe come and tell you, right now, I want an outfit for 9 p.m. You see, like, we try to do as much as we can. By the way, we'll really pull strings.
It sounds like just working for TV. You work under a lot of pressure.
There's a lot of pressure that people don't see. And also just even as in the fashion industry in general, we've refused to share knowledge. We feel like if we help someone else, they'll take something from us, or we are afraid that if I share this knowledge with my competitor, they'll have an advantage. But people don't know that when another stylist suffers, that is the industry suffering at whole.
Itself.
Stylists are suffering, then the fashion industry is suffering. We don't like to share problems. We don't like to share the solutions. We always want to think there's one problem.
Yes.
But there's not one problem. There are so many problems. The problem is the clients don't see the value. The problem is designers don't want to work with us on such projects. And if we maybe looked at all the problems and try to deal with each and every one, so that one day we can sit down and say, now this is the problem, maybe we'd be able to move forward. But everyone wants to come with their own issue, and then now we stop discussing issues, we start discussing who is wrong, who is right.
Yes.
Yeah.
So in the 4 years experience you've had, what kind of advice would you give someone who wants to get into this industry? What should they note before getting into styling and deciding to make it a career, whether it's part-time or full-time?
If you come into it thinking it is easy, you will quit sooner than you think. Let me just tell you.
Yeah. Because
it's a job like any other. It requires like skill. It requires you to be proactive. It requires you to, and especially if you don't think of it as a business, if you just think, I'm a creative, I just want to do the creative part.
Yeah.
If you don't think of it as business at the end of the day, you'll not be able to discern which clients are going to help you, which clients are just wasting your time. You'll not be able to discern which collaborations, because sometimes it's not all about the money. You can find that there are some brands that will offer you genuine and like out of this world experience that money cannot even be able to give you, because money comes and goes.
Yeah,
you'll get paid by this client and then, oh, it's over, it's done. You ate the money, you probably did something stupid. But yeah, it's just coming into styling, just know that it's tough, but let me tell you, the fruits they're beautiful.
They're beautiful fruits.
When you see your work in the magazines, even merely on Instagram or on TV, and you remember how you hustled, you spent like nights thinking about, oh, where will I get this, where will I get that? It all makes sense in the end. And even just getting to know different people, because these are people who are trusting you with
their image.
Like, have you ever seen someone have a breakdown? because you can't, you've had a breakdown because you
Yeah,
can't find
yeah,
an outfit.
exactly.
Now imagine there's someone to walk, like, it's like, you know what,
It's amazing.
You have a good night's sleep. Now
and I'm
I'm
not
the one
worrying
who's
about
going to
it.
have, yeah.
So I
I'm the one
wake
who's
up
going to
knowing I have an outfit in the morning.
You wake up knowing you have an outfit. And it's pressure, but it's good because that trust makes you work even harder because you don't want to disappoint someone.
Do you think stylists make more money in the media industry? Like in terms of, are your clients more in the fashion industry or the media?
Mostly the media.
The media.
Because I feel like the media understands image. Even fashion, they do understand image, but fashion is a bit harder because
seasonal.
It's seasonal, and also like most fashion clients, like they'll do a one-off thing. You see the media, let's say a TV show, it's running every so often. If it's not every week, it's every day. If it's not every day, you have like every season. So for fashion, maybe they look at you for certain events, certain like a gala. It's just it can come like once in a while. But media jobs in styling, I think, are the ones that are really like pushing.
Continuous.
Yeah, they're really continuous right now.
Do you feel like, okay, for a fact, the Kenyan fashion industry is not the same to what it was in 2004, of course. It's grown and grown and grown. But the styling space is different. Yes, it falls under fashion, but it's different. And do you feel like ever since you got into it, Kenya has allowed you to be in a styling place where you can evolve as a stylist and even have opportunities to make more money?
Yes, I feel like right now people are open to different styles. You know, maybe even just pushing the boundary a bit. Maybe, you know, sometimes on TV we would see like you wouldn't be able to wear printed pants. You might have to wear like, but maybe one person together with their stylist said, you know what, you go try, see how it's gonna look, and then all of a sudden it's like, yeah, actually we can do printed pants. We can see. It's just trying to. Sometimes styling is not even just bringing the outfits. You have to convince. It's convincing because I'm trying to make you see what I see. And sometimes it'll be difficult. That's why you have to tell the person, just try it on, just look at it.
See how it looks like on you.
See how it looks, yeah. Sometimes you even have to be like, post it on Instagram, see the comments, and then they see the comments like, yeah, this outfit actually did make sense. So it's really changed because people have become more open-minded about style.
Yes, most definitely.
So now it's much better because 2004...
Do you think the international space has kind of influenced our views on styling
very much, because especially because of social media, a lot of us are following some of the same. You follow Bonang. I follow Bonang. Of course I
do.
You follow Bonang. So I feel like as long, it's not like copying, but you want to emulate. You're like, if she's African, she's very stylish, why can't I also do that? So just that global village of us seeing what other people are doing and wondering, why can't we be on that scope? But it's gonna take a while until it's gonna take a while. But I feel like I'm very hopeful.
Yes. Now, before I wrap up our conversation today, I have like 2 last questions for you. So, is styling something you plan on doing for the rest of your life, or you have plans on venturing into something else?
Because I thought I would want to be a stylist like forever and ever, but I'd like to get out of it because right now I'm also assuming a role as an art director. Okay. So I want to head more shoots. I want to stop sourcing.
I want to get back to the photography that you wanted to do in the beginning. I want to get back
into photography. And also one thing that has helped me in my, that it will help me in my art directorship is I was a photographer before. So I can be able to see how the shots should come out. And then also from a creative perspective and also from like a wardrobe perspective because of my background in styling.
Yes.
So I'd like to venture into art directing.
Okay, that's amazing. Now my very last question for you today, Wendy, is do you think that styling is the future for growth in the fashion industry in Kenya?
I can't really say styling. I just say that stylists working together with the other people
and
designers and photographers can be able to push the fashion industry to, because this is $1 billion industry.
It is.
It
I mean, look at South Africa, look at the States. You have stylists making billions from one client.
Make billions. They do live this lavish life because everyone's just chasing that, living my best life.
Yes.
And I feel like we can get there as long as we're able to unite. Because you see, once we fight amongst each other, there's no way we can bring this conversation to the table, and other industries will look at us and be like, yeah, let's help them out. Because you can't help people who are fighting amongst themselves.
Yes.
Because if we stood together and said, maybe from the government, we need this and this kind of incentives to be able to carry out this and this kind of things, they'd actually take us seriously. But everyone wants to clean their own backyard.
Yes.
We don't want to clean the estate.
Each other's.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Well, thank you so much for that insightful information. I wish you all the best in your endeavors in that styling industry. Thank you so much once again. Now, we have reached the end of this conversation, but let's take a short commercial break. And when I come back, I'll be looking at Fashion Express. Since it's Fashion Wednesday, we'll take a look at what's trending and what you should be wearing. Welcome back to E-Magazine. Now it's time for Fashion Express as we take a look at the 5 trends that are making a comeback in today's styles. Now, starting us off at number 1 are the choker necklaces. After being abandoned in the late 1990s, the choker trend has made a huge comeback in the past year. Seen today on every other neck, on the catwalk, and our celebrities, today's chokers combine trends of some of the 200 years of jewelry fashion, but some new styles have emerged. Now moving on to number 2 are the sweatpants. Now the leisure movement has made sweatpants cool again. Even though the current sweatpant trends involve slim-fitting sweatpants, joggers are still just sweatpants with a different cut. Now this comeback style highlights how people now prefer comfort over everything, and there's no better way to make this a stylish trend by rocking it the right way. Now moving on to number 3, ripped denims. Now I know everyone's trying this right now. It's like a trending look in every place in the country. This style was popping in the 80s. Every pair of jeans had the knees blown out, and now things are swinging back in that direction. I mean, who doesn't like a breeze on your skin when you're wearing long pants? Now at number 4, taking an older pair of jeans and slicing them off above the knee is the way to go. You just call them shorts right after that. This is the most economical thing to do when it comes to pants. The problem was that for a while it was not cool at all back in the day, but now they're making a serious comeback. Now our last list is flared pants. Flared pants have been rocked by every person in each and every industry. I mean, they're stylish and they still look professional. There were styles. Flared pants were being rocked in the 1990s up to the 2000s, and now this style is having a comeback with an even bigger bang. Well, now let's move into our entertainment news and take a look at the stories that made it on our business news today. Netflix in talks to buy historic Egyptian theatre in Hollywood. Netflix is in talks to buy the historic Egyptian theatre in Hollywood, according to sources from The Hollywood Reporter. The Egyptian sale price is in the tens of millions. Current owner, the American Cinematic, an independent non-profit organization dedicated to preserving and celebrating moving pictures in all forms, would continue to heavily involved if such a scale closes. This major deal accomplishes 2 tasks. 1, giving Netflix a prime venue during Oscar season and other times of the year without having to get into the theatre booking business. And number 2, it helps guarantee a future for the landmark Egyptian, the Sid Garamond-built theatre that opened in 1922 and was host to numerous Hollywood premieres. Now, moving on to another story that made it to our entertainment news. The creators of global smash television series Game of Thrones say they knew how they would end the show 5 years ago and are anxious on whether or not that fans will like it. Game of Thrones has won multiple Emmy Awards and is HBO's biggest hit ever, with some 30 million viewers in the United States and an army of devoted fans worldwide. In quotes, "We want people to love it. It matters a lot to us," said D.B. West, who along with David Benioff created the series that is based on the novels of George R.R. Martin. The final 6 episodes of HBO's award-winning medieval fantasy series set among warring families in the fictional kingdom of Westeros, launches on Sunday and concludes on May 19th. Well, we've reached the end of E! Magazine. That's all for today's episode. Stay tuned for more tomorrow, that is. Enjoy the rest of your viewing. My name is Brenda Nyamichaba.